Hello, and welcome back to Splatoon. This is Shag, and hopefully we have a better audio balance going this time. Sorry about that. I was a bit quiet in the previous video, or you could argue that the rest of the video was too loud. Or maybe you're the kind of person who wanted to watch this without commentary, and they were almost happy. But today, let's finish off World 1. And by today, I mean exactly after the previous recording. But don't tell anyone that. So, we have this new enemy, I guess. No one cares about that one, though. This is the part where you have to go up the wall, because you can do that. In multiplayer, it's worth noting that you get most of your points from inking the floor. And by most, I mean all. Except for your kills and deaths, of course. You get no points for inking the walls, but you do use them for mobility purposes, so it's a good idea to do that. I guess those guys are one of the least threatening enemy types in the game. They don't really accomplish anything. I guess we also didn't really mention that there are these things that you shoot a lot and they blow up and there's ink everywhere. They were in the previous level, and they're pretty self-explanatory, but I don't know. These are octoballs. They're kind of annoying. As long as they're in their own ink, they're invincible, but you have to sort of submerge them into yours in order to defeat them. So, I said before you can go through grates, and this means you can go through them in, well, any direction, basically. So it's worth knowing that, because that's also where a few of the secrets in single player like to hide. That is, in grates. Yep, they're invincible unless you know where to shoot them. That's a squeegee! You can't hurt those fellas. And indeed you can't. And they clean up whatever you paint. Which makes them kind of a pain to deal with. But what's this? Who cares about that squeegee? Because there's the second secret scroll. You gotta look carefully to see that one. I think the intended method to get that one is not to jump down there, but to instead phase through this grate. Well, I guess there's also a sign pointing to it. Can't say I noticed that before. You can swim sideways on walls as well. You have a lot of mobility in this game. It feels very fluid. That's no pun intended, I guess. This game has plenty of intended puns, I don't need to add any more. I don't know how you would get a bike to this island. Anyway, you can step on squeegees perfectly fine, but that's not really ever important. By my beard, it's armor! Well, we've seen armor already, Captain Cuttlefish. You don't have to be that surprised by it. Gotta use these, because you can't cover enough territory otherwise. Thankfully, these stupid things can't go up walls unless they're already on them. Stick to the wall and use X to climb faster. Oh yeah, that's right. If you press the jump button a bunch while you're on a wall, you jump up the wall. It speeds things up a little bit, but not too much. So, one of the other cool things about the single player in this game, other than actually being significant and not tacked on, is that each of the levels seems to add, like, a new gimmick or take on a previous gimmick. At this point, we're still introducing enemies and whatnot, so it's not like there's anything super crazy yet. but later levels, they don't really ever end up just being the same. Now, you can't manage to make it up here just this way. I mean, you could try. Don't tell me what to do. My emotion controls don't exist, old man. You can try, but the squeegee will stop you, and also, well, you can't shoot that high up. So, hopefully you're not too stubborn to notice that you can do this to fire the ink cannon. Hold CL to aim, and then press ZR. Yep. Unfortunately, not even these destroy the squeegees, but it's a good step. You can even destroy the Zapfish's protective casing thing from here. But it regenerates. That's something else that never really comes into play. So, yeah, that squeegee's gonna clean up a little bit of what we got, but at this point, there is enough there to, well, assuming that I can be not an idiot, there's enough there to get around the dang thing. There we go. At least you can sort of ink and climb at the same time, given enough persistence. There's our second Zapfish. By the way, if you carry armor or a super weapon to the end of a stage, you get a few extra power eggs. Not a whole lot, but... We Octarians dwell in a world deep underground. The individual caves in which we live are connected by a network of transport devices known as kettles. Wow, you learn something new every day! So, yeah, we're actually going into, like, miniature cave worlds with a bunch of floating platforms and stuff. This kettle looks important, but we're not allowed to go in it yet. It looks like you're outdoors in these levels, but if you look closer, it's not quite the case. The sky is fake. You can see the cave ceiling up there, and the sky is mostly displayed on very large monitors. And there's a lot of artificial lighting. It's a really interesting design, actually. Speaking of interesting design, I don't know what the purpose of these slanted and already inked platforms is, or why you need a checkpoint after them when there are literally no danger at all. But, it's cool, I guess. I already forgot what the name of this level was. Okay, I guess you do need to do a dash jump in the single player, like, once. I was wrong. And that's okay. I think the level name has something to do with those floating guys, which are the new enemy for this level. Sneaky box. But not the sneaky box that's most important. Shoot ink rails, and you can swim in them. You can also jump out of them and onto other ones, or just out of them. So that's helpful. I think that's important at some point in the future. You'll fall off if you let go. Also true. But yeah, these little flying guys aren't too much threat either. They can be annoying in groups, but this game doesn't really do large groups that much. Here's one of those super weapons I mentioned. You can see a gauge there, which is irrelevant in single player, except for it decreasing once we activate it. The Inkzooka just shoots a really big old tornado-y thing for a distance. Also, my foolishness got my armor destroyed there, so I guess I demonstrated that too. I'm probably not going to try to use the super weapons too much, because you do get a small bonus if you keep them. Octocopters. So, yeah, that's what these things are called. Octocopters. Well done. Like I said, they're not too threatening. There's our secret scroll for this level. You can't ink this surface, so you have to climb this wall. I said climb the wall, and then jump Hooray! Okay, so you do have to use it more than I thought. And now moving platforms, because Nintendo really likes moving platforms. I suppose I could probably use a bomb or something somewhere. You'll notice one thing, is that bombs take a lot of your ink. Like 75% of it or so. Shooting is much more ink efficient. Sink me, you did it! There wasn't really that much to do, Captain. The levels at this point in the game are fairly simple. And Zapfish is dead ahead. And here we have an Octo Bomber and some armor. They actually shoot burst bombs at you. Well, not burst bombs, those are called splat bombs. Burst bombs are ones that just blow up on impact and they look like water balloons. But thankfully there's only one of those guys right now. So we can just move along. That's one of the more, I guess that's like the first actually somewhat dangerous enemy type that we came into contact with. This seems to be an Octarian assault vehicle, but it doesn't appear to have an engine. The big question then, how does it move? It's frighteningly clear that the source of Octarian power lies outside the realm of established science. So these scrolls seem to be a mix of things from Octarian and Inkling history. This game has a surprising amount of lore, basically. And that big important looking thing was the boss kettle. And you might, as you might guess, destroying that will let us get through that barrier. But first, the mighty Octo Stomp. The Octo Stomp is this game's introduction to the boss battles. It's not too complicated, but I guess it shows sort of how they'll be going. First of all, you got this big tentacle with a glowy X mark on it. That's important. Secondly, you've got a giant box with tiny legs for some reason. Anyway, most of the boss battles are about inking the correct areas, stunning the boss in whatever way, and then shooting the tentacle. In this case, you just have to ink and swim around to get out of the way of his attack, and then paint up his sides and get to the top. After every time the bosses get damaged, they erase all ink, yours and theirs, on the field. Every time this guy gets damaged, he takes slightly less time to get back up. As you might expect from Nintendo bosses, most of them follow a rule of 3. So you have to kill the tentacle thing 3 times in order to kill the boss. Now he's getting a little bit trickier. Because first of all, he's gonna fake us out. And secondly, his panels are moving. And thirdly, we don't have much time. But, looks like I managed it. Flawlessly. What's with these tiny legs? This is a question that will never be answered. But that looks painful. With the boss vanquished, we are rewarded with a circle of pellets, or power eggs, a free secret scroll, you don't have to find them in the boss fights, and of course, a Zapfish. That was the first boss. Avast! They have the great Octo weapons on their side. At any rate, good work, Agent 3. Keep it up. It's a long road to the great Zapfish. It's not actually that long, but it's like 5 worlds. Anti-Octopus Weapon Blueprints. Designer, Amosis Schellendorf. Ammonites, Booyah Base. First floor, Inkopolis 11-1. What that is every time you defeat a boss, you get the scroll that you get is weapon blueprints, which you can take to the weapon shop and they will manufacture some new weapons for you. But, as previously mentioned, we are not fresh enough. So those weapons will we won't be getting them. And you never get an alternate main weapon in the story mode, only in the multiplayer. But here's World 2. Defeating the boss seems to short-circuit the power and destroy the barrier, allowing us access. So World 2 has more levels than the first world. The first world has the least levels by far, of course. You can see that there are 6 levels in this world. Here's the boss kettle. Can't do anything about that. But as I also previously mentioned, I like to spend my time revealing all the levels first off. Now, I probably won't be doing all of the levels in order. I'll be doing all the levels, of course, but they won't be done in the order that they are numbered, because they'll sort of just be done in whatever order I end up doing them in. Because, like, my strategy when I played this, it was mostly just to, like, reveal all the levels, and then pick one on the map and do them in a clockwise or counterclockwise or whatever fashion from there. Some of these levels get harder to find, and hopefully I won't have too much difficulty finding the ones in this hub. We've got 3. Yes, 3? Okay. Whoop! No! No, 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 no! Not what I intended. Preview. There's a preview of one of the World 2 levels. That one was actually a multiplayer map. Well, it wasn't at first, but it was later added. They're adding new content fairly regularly to this game. So that's fun. There's probably something up there, actually. Yep. Yep, there's 4. Oh, hey, Captain Cuttlefish. He just says stuff. He's, not that useful. Whoops. I am good at this game. 5. And there's one more level. There it is. 6. It's a box. Anyway, that said, we finished World 1 and opened up World 2. So, next time we will actually do World 2. This is the part where the videos will probably start getting longer. Hopefully the audio issues have resolved themselves. And, yeah. Yep. Until next time, remember that you can paint trees and it does absolutely nothing. But also, stay fresh.